Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the fourth podcast. That's it. That's right. We've made it to episode 4, and each time we have stuck to the 1 hour. So let's see if we can do that tonight. The big question is, what are we going to start with? What piece of news is the most important piece of news to discuss right now? Papa Tower said something Fallout 76 banning players. Yeah, I've got something to say about that. Quorico has asked me to talk about Google Stadia. There's probably a few other things. Discuss the Bethesda hotlink security breach. Yeah, I've heard about that one too. Okay. Oh, well, never mind. It's not the third podcast without Fallout 76. Wolfclaw, the chances of there being a podcast without Fallout 76 until Fallout 76 has died a death is practically zero. If we could go a week without some major piece of news occurring around Fallout 76, I'd love it. But it's not going to happen. So let's get it out of the way, so that you can all unsubscribe and call me lots of names. Because, as usual, I have a somewhat, let's not call it a nuanced opinion this time. My opinion has got no nuance this time. But it is an opinion that's going to annoy both sides. If there are two sides on this issue, it's going to be like annoying both of them, but probably for a different reason, because ordinarily I tend to try and see things from both perspectives, and then I tend to look at it and assume everyone's overreacting, which probably they are anyway, and then everyone thinks I'm trying to sit on the fence. This time round, I'm just going to shout at everybody, everyone, both sides. So I'm not sitting on the fence, I'm aiming at the fence with a large rocket-propelled grenade and pulling the trigger. So there are two ways that this entire situation is annoying me. For those of you that don't know, apparently Bethesda have banned a number of people who used a program called the cheat program whilst playing Fallout 76 to replicate some exploits. And the community has gotten a little out of sorts over this, because some of the people banned were actually testing this so that they could report the exploits to Bethesda. Okay, if you're following me so far. But from the very start of this particular story, everyone's been going, Bethesda have banned people using the cheat program. I cannot believe they banned people using the cheat program. And I'm sat there going, I'm sorry, what? Because they used a program. It's called the cheat program. I believe it's called the cheat program. That's what everyone's calling it. They've used a third-party program to replicate an exploit. And everyone's staggered and shocked that they've gotten banned. And I'm a little like, well, it's called a cheat engine, but it's more of a reverse engineering tool. And this is what I want to get to. This is what I want to get to, right? We have gotten so accustomed to this kind of thing going on that there seems to be a somewhat weird idea out there amongst our community that using these programs to data mine, reverse engineer, replicate and test bugs, etc., is somehow okay. And I'm not even going to say that it's not okay, because what I don't want to do here is discuss the morality of what they did. What I want to discuss is how sensible it was. Because I've been playing multiplayer games for a long time. And the first thing I didn't even need to learn it, it's just something I've known since the start. Using third-party programs, especially ones called cheat something is a no-no. It's and I know the argument seems to be, but they were doing it for a good reason. Right. But I can tell you, as someone who used to host some multiplayer servers, I saw a lot of reports of cheating that were from people who just got beat. But I also saw a lot of people defending their cheating with the same kind of response. And I've got to tell you now, I would say for every time someone's been caught cheating, and it turns out they were actually helping and really doing it for the best of reasons, there's probably 100 times it was not for good reasons, but I'll bet you any money the vast majority of them tried to convince me. It's just what people do. It's what people do. No, I didn't pick up this bag of money that I found here and then walk all over there because I was going to take it. What I was doing, I was going to walk over there and then I was going to tie my shoelaces and then I was going to check and then I was going to go to the police station and hand it in. Honest. No, I didn't see the person that's been looking for the bag over there. Honest, I was just trying to be helpful. Yeah, what I'm saying is, this is just everything about this. Now, I am not saying the person involved who got banned, the very notorious one that got banned, was not actually doing it to help people. I'm not saying he wasn't. What I'm saying is, if you were a policeman, would you take that? Like, no, honestly, officer, really, what I was doing was I was testing the lock on the car to see if it was open. And if it was, I was going to note down the number and find out whose car it belonged to and then knock on their house and tell them that it was. No, you bloody would assume they were a thief. So even if you did have the best of intentions, I can't help but think using something called the cheat engine to check exploits was not what I would just call, shall we say, unwise. But then I've seen this all the way along. I remember when Fallout 76 came out, mods immediately came available and people were like, aha, see, mods are good. Because I predicted that Fallout 76 was probably not going to have much of a modding community. It doesn't. I don't want to pull the whole Jim Sterling of I was right, everyone else was wrong, but I was right and everyone else was wrong. But there was a few mods appeared. And I said, I would not use them if I were you. And people were like, yeah, but they're only changing the UI or the textures. I'm saying, I would not recommend using them if I were you. I'm not saying you will get banned, but I would not mod or use a third-party program on a multiplayer game unless the developers of the game had explicitly stated they were okay with it. And as far as I know, Bethesda have not come out and said, hey, it's okay if you use the cheat engine as long as you're just testing stuff and not trying to cheat. Pretty sure they've not. And I'm pretty sure they've not said you can use mods at the moment. I may be wrong. If I'm wrong, I do apologise. But I'm pretty sure if you check the terms of service, there's probably something in there that says no using third-party programs or stuff that alters the code. Probably. I would have imagined. Most multiplayer games are. But a lot of people approached Fallout 76 as though it were just another BGS game. And I mean, I know every single game has cheats, and some multiplayer games do have mods. There are plenty of multiplayer games that do have mods, but I put it to you that generally speaking, it's a bad idea to use those mods until either the developers have said, yeah, we don't mind those mods, or we approve of mods from that site, or so many people are using it, and it's so normalised that if they banned everyone, they'd lose their entire customer base. That's just me. I maybe I'm old. Maybe things have changed, and using something called the cheat engine is just not frowned upon in multiplayer games. I suspect that is not true. I suspect if you talk to a lot of people who play lots of different multiplayer games, but don't necessarily belong to the Bethesda community, they're probably going, yeah, no, you can't use a cheat engine. What? Of course you're going to get banned. So for me, there was one side of me listening to this story and thinking, how How is everyone freaking out over the fact that some people, no matter how good intentioned, got banned for cheating, right? So I do understand the counter argument, though. I do understand that these people, one of these people was making an online map that's very helpful to the community. And indeed, I think this might be part of the problem. A lot of the people playing Fallout 76 have possibly not been doing too much multiplayer, but they've probably played a lot of, say, Fallout 4, or they've been in the BGS community, and they're just used to the idea that when a BGS game comes out, we use third-party tools to hook into it, like the script extender or other things to make it look better, like ENBs, and we mod it and we tweak it, and the community just basically fixes everything that Bethesda did wrong. We're so used to it, I suspect there was a massive chunk of the Fallout 76 community that went in there with the same mentality they had for Bethesda Game Studios single-player games. I suspect that is why a lot of people are somewhat shocked that this has happened, right? But at the same time, they probably shouldn't have been. But now to sort of go to the other side of the argument, Bethesda should have bloody well known this. Bethesda should have known that their community would just start playing Fallout 76 and start messing around with every single solitary modding tool, tweaking tool, whatever tool to data mine, and just try to get to the bottom of it, fix things, make mods. They should have just known that their community would do this without thought and probably not even think there was anything wrong with it. And thus, Bethesda should have come out in advance and said, by the way, guys, we're not supporting mods yet, please don't use them. We're not supporting third-party programs, so I know you're used to things like SKSE. Don't use any third-party programs on this game. It's not allowed. I know you guys are used to doing that with our games, but this game is different. And then if people did use it, and it became known that people were using it, you should send them a warning and say, look, seriously, I don't know whether we got this across to you, but that sort of thing is definitely out of line. We know that our community is used to this, but this game really isn't going to work if we let people use a cheat engine that lets them exploit. It's just not going to work, so we can't. So stop it. If we catch you doing it again, we're going to ban you. But they didn't. And you know why they didn't? Because they don't understand their own bloody community. They never have. I've known this since 2015. When they brought out paid mods, I was like, actually, no, I've known it since 2013. When did the Steam Workshop come out? Was it 2013? I knew it from that moment onwards. I remember that came out and I started to think, they really don't understand how modding works. They don't understand modding or the modding community. And it's painfully obvious that they don't really understand multiplayer games, at least not from a technical point of view. They're not really, with it, but they don't understand their community, which is amazing, which is staggering, because they should have predicted this was going to happen, and they should have taken preventative measures and gone out of their way to let everyone know that this was a bad idea and you shouldn't do it, and maybe give everyone one chance. And they should probably have had a much more efficient, well-oiled support system for people who had issues like this, and they should possibly be a little more lenient than most other games and just track people and say, well, this person's had a warning and we've given them a warning and they've now done it again. No, this is it. They've had their official warning done, right? But they didn't. They reacted as though the community should have known all this, when they should have known that the community wasn't going to know this. They should have known. They should have had some warnings. But now to throw it back to the other side, the community should have known that Bethesda would get this wrong, because the community should have known Bethesda don't understand their own bloody community and wouldn't understand that their community may have some people trying to data mine and trying to mod and tweak for the actual benefit of the game, not to actually cheat. I can't believe people in the community didn't realise this, because the first thing that I would be thinking was, all right, yes, Bethesda should know that I, Gopher, am data mining their game and using the cheat engine to better help the game, but I, Gopher, no, they probably don't, because right now I'm not convinced they could find their own asses with both hands. So it's like, everyone's surprised by this, and I'm sat in the middle thinking the only thing that surprises me is how surprised everyone is. I mean, you know, don't use mods, don't use something called the cheat engine, don't use third-party programs on a multiplayer game unless you have permission. Bethesda, get to know your community and understand a lot of them are trying to do this to help you, and they're used to being able to do this, so let them know they can't. Give them warnings. Community, assume Bethesda will fail at that. Okay? Just assume that they're going to fail at that, because right now, is there anything they have not failed at when it came to Fallout 76? I know some people are enjoying the game, so I'm not saying they've failed like at every aspect of the game. The game itself might be fun for some people, but at every stage, every time they have done something new, they have screwed it up. Okay? They have. They're out of the depth when it comes to multiplayer games. That is obvious to me. Do you know what gets me though? Is a lot of the people I'm seeing screaming, right? Because I've got a good memory for people who've shouted abuse at me, and I see people. Oh my God, I can't believe Bethesda are doing this. And I feel like screaming, you lying sack of manure. I've seen you complaining about Bethesda for years and years and years. You've been calling them incompetent in every single aspect, and you didn't know that they would know. Oh, no. That's like, yeah. No, I honestly didn't realise that Bethesda wouldn't let us mod the game or use third-party tools. Who would have imagined it? You! 10 years ago when you told me modding was going to die. You know when modding was going to die a decade ago? When the community was sending me hate mail back in 2011 because modding was dead. I don't know why you're talking about modding. They're going to ban it. They're going to ban it. It's not allowed. They haven't released the what was it called in Morrowind? It wasn't called a creation kit. It was called, I can't remember what it was called. They haven't released the modding tools yet, and you have to tweak the ini file to even enable mods. It's obvious that they don't want mods. Modding is dead. They've never done that before, so modding is dead. So then what, like 2 or 3 years later when Steam Workshop came out, right? That was obviously a ploy to take control of mods. I guarantee this is Bethesda's attempt to shut down Nexus so that they can then start charging for mods. Mods are dead. 2015 comes along, of course we had paid mods, and then mods are dead. I guarantee, mods are gonna die. They won't make it to 2016. You're an idiot, Gopher, for believing there will still be mods in 2016. You disgust me, you shill. And then Fallout 4 comes out. See? It needs an ini tweak. That has never happened before. Again. It's the death of modding! Oh, and then we got Bethesda Net. There was Bethesda Net, right? They finally released the creation kit 6 months later, and it was on Bethesda Net, and that was, I guarantee. That was what I was getting. I guarantee. Bethesda Net is going to shut down Nexus. You mark my words. This time, next year, well, actually, it was usually within, by Christmas, I think was the predictions I was always receiving. Nexus will be unable to have any Bethesda Game Studios mods. I guarantee it. And then we got console mods, same thing. And then we get the Creation Club, 2017, death of mods. I guarantee death of mods. 2018, Bethesda released Fallout 76, and the same people are like, yeah, mods will happen, they've got this, Bethesda've got it. What do you mean they've got it? You've been telling me mods are dead for almost a decade. Fallout 76 comes out and you're going, no, this will be fine, we can mod it, we'll be able to use script extenders, everything will be fine. No! Why is anyone surprised by this? I just do not know. But more importantly, the people that have been predicting that Bethesda will screw everything up deliberately, year in, year out, are now saying, I expected better of Bethesda. You lying sack of fecal material. You did not expect better. What was I talking about? Yeah, no, right. So, I don't know. Things like this, well, they annoy me. You can probably tell. Things like this annoy me because everyone should have seen this coming. Don't use something called the cheat engine. Don't use mods, guys. If you're playing Fallout 76, don't use mods, even if you think those mods are not cheating. Because you make yourself vulnerable to getting banned. Even if the mod does nothing cheatish, they have the option to ban you if they find out you're using it. You make yourself vulnerable to this. For crying out loud, don't use a program that's a third-party program that hooks into the game. Do not do that, especially if the thing's called the cheat engine. What do you need? Do you need a subtitle for that? Cheat engine, guaranteed to get you banned if you use it in Fallout 76. No, don't use programs like that. Or if you do it on another account. If you're genuinely, absolutely doing some good for the community, do it on another account. Just in case. Because here's the thing, Bethesda have said they will not punish. They will try not to punish people like that. They've said that. Turns out that's not. Well, it's not that it's not true. The Bethesda talking heads are saying they don't want to ban people who are genuinely trying to help out the community, but their support division hasn't got the message yet, if it ever will. So there's a disconnect between what they're saying and what they're doing. What a surprise, right? What a shock. But just assume you're on shaky ground when you do things like that. Assume you're on shaky grounds. Even if Bethesda actually tell you can use that program. Because they've got an uphill struggle to win my confidence that they can do a good job in a game like this, because so far they've not done a good job in a game like this. Now, I'm the first person to give them credit when they do something right. I adore Fallout 4 VR. I was actually thinking of making a video. I want to make a positive video where I actually said, Bethesda, you've actually done something good. This is good. Because I want to give praise when I see something that's good. But Fallout 76, I'm seeing a lot of things just done totally wrong, and I would just assume you are not safe using anything like this, even if your intentions are pure. And you also have to accept that no one's going to believe you that your intentions are pure when you use stuff like this. No one is. You wouldn't. If you found someone rattling the door to your house, right, and he claimed he was just checking. No, I'm part of Neighbourhood Watch. I'm just checking doors, honest. You wouldn't believe him? So yeah. This is Fallout 76. Don't try and fix it for them. Even though you're trying to be helpful, do not replicate exploits, because you will set yourself up for a fall. Thank you, Admiral Rum. I'm not saying you deserve banning. I'm not saying anyone who uses these deserves banning at all. I'm not. I'm saying you should not be surprised if it happens. Partly because it kind of happens like that in multiplayer games. Unless you've got specific permission from that developer. And even in that case, when it comes to Bethesda, I would not necessarily take that as an ironclad guarantee. Like I said, everyone's going to hate me for this one. It's like somehow someone's going to spin this into me being a shill for Bethesda. Someone is. There is. There's a logical path that will get them there if they twist hard enough. But yeah, I probably annoyed everyone on that because I'm kind of blaming everyone, sort of. I mean, don't get me wrong. The core blame is with Bethesda. Bethesda should know their community and they should communicate these things well to their community. And they should have let their community know that things with Fallout 76 are different to their other Fallout games and they should really go out of their way. And I mean, like, message of the day, you log into the game for the first time. Please do not use this thing or exploits. You know, we appreciate people trying to help us find these exploits, but don't. Right? Or if we can see in our records that you have done this exploit more than once, we are going to assume ill intent. Just anything. They should have got it across. They should absolutely have got it across because they should have known their community was a little different to a lot of multiplayer communities. Are we moving on? Can we just move? I mean, I would like to say, can we move on from Fallout 76 permanently? But you know I can't. You could say to yourself right now, what could come up in the next week? What could possibly come up in the next week that would need to be spoken about, that would be considered news in our community? And you know something will. Gah. All right, let's move on to some better news. Oh, well, I say better news, different news. Google Stadia streaming games. Quadico asked me to talk about this. I kind of heard about it. I have not tried it. It is a streaming system for games, and by that I think the point is the game runs somewhere else. And the output, the sound and the visuals are streamed to you on your device. And your inputs are streamed back through the internet to Stadia and you play the game like that. It's kind of like you're playing the game that is on a computer thousands of miles away over the internet. Right. But I've got a mixed opinion on this. I think it's the future of gaming. I think it will be how things are done in the future, at least for non-enthusiasts. It will not be how I do things in the near future, particularly because I am an enthusiast. Cloud gaming is the bane of all gamers. I would say that's not true, but then Netco says lag is not a problem, it is low. Netco, lag is a problem. Lag is always a problem. I've seen the ways they're trying to get around lag. If you think lag is not a problem, then Google Stadia is aimed at you. Every millisecond of lag to a serious gamer is a problem. So, and you've got to remember with Google Stadia, it's not just lag in the netcode. So, for example, if I was playing something like Counter-Strike, I'd want a ping in the low, like 20s to the server. I'd prefer lower than that personally, but like we want a ping of like low 20s or something to the server. So and you have to remember what I'm seeing on my end has got no lag. There's a 0 millisecond lag with what I see and what I input. Well, that's not true. There is a lag based upon the frame rate of your computer, right? There is a lag based upon the frame rate of your computer, and there is lag on the polling rate of your mouse. But serious gamers running like 120 hertz and a poll rate of gazillion, the lag is pretty much next to negligible. Over the internet, you now have the added time of, it's not just the fact that you now have a lag between you and the server, which means perhaps the person isn't quite where you see them to be. What will actually be the case is you will actually see them where they are, you just won't see it until the lag has passed, because your image is going to get lagged. Now, the question is, how much lag is acceptable? And that is going to change, that's going to differ person to person. For a lot of players, if they can get the lag down to, I don't know, it depends. It does depend on the game. Some games, lags of 1/10 of a second might be acceptable, wouldn't be a big problem. For an FPS game, I don't know what lag would be acceptable for me. I can't imagine playing a game like Payday 2 and any amount of lag being acceptable. I mean, you got to remember that the serious gamers didn't start using LCD monitors because of the ghosting effect, because they wouldn't update fast enough, and they wanted monitors that would update in that would I can't remember what it's called. I think it's how fast the light fades. It's something like 4 milliseconds was the minimum needed for gamers, or 8 milliseconds was the minimum, but like people were looking for like 4 and stuff. So I'm gonna say for the near future, for certain games, serious gamers are probably gonna find cloud gaming and not an issue. Not a thing. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Also, serious enthusiast gamers are probably going to be demanding the ability to push their gaming rigs to the max so they can get, 60 frames a second or 120 frames a second. Now, this is where things get a little interesting for me. Google Stadia have stated they want to be able to do 120 frames per second on their games. Is that going to be a thing? Is that going to be possible? When it gets to that stage, if you could run 4K Ultra at 120 frames a second, the enthusiast gamer may begin to think about moving over. They might start thinking, ooh, because in theory, it is going to be possible for them to actually throw more computing power at the game than a single PC could. In theory, I have to ask how much you would have to pay to get that sort of performance. Because I don't know what the payment plan is on Google Stadia at the moment. Do you have to pay? I should probably look that up, shouldn't I? I think there will be a good market in the near future for people who want to play games on a variety of devices as they travel around. So they go home and they'll be playing something like XCOM on their PC, and then they just want to go to work and carry on playing XCOM on their phone. And something like Google Stadia would be a good way of doing that. Now, there are other ways of doing that right now by running the game at home, and you can stream to your mobile devices. It's just a little harder. Google Stadia could be a good way for people doing that to just sort of, play wherever they wanted and get really good performance. I could also imagine it being good for people who are enthusiast gamers if they allow an option for the game to exist both locally and on the cloud and keep to sync. I don't know if they do that. So, for example, let's just say I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2 on my machine, and I'm getting, because I've got a great machine, I'm running 60 frames a second on high settings or something like that, right? But then I go somewhere for a weekend, so I take my laptop. My laptop is just nowhere near as powerful, can't run it. So I run it over Google Stadia, which probably won't be as powerful as my PC at the moment. So I'm only running it at low settings, maybe 60 frames a second. But I can play it. I can play it, and I'm playing it on the same save because it's all Google Stadia. But then when I get back to my, I could even play it on my phone if I wanted, on the bus, in even worse settings. And then when I get home, I'm back home again. Right, let's go back in and play on the PC. And now it's playing locally. I can see all sorts of ways the future could bring this sort of feature even to enthusiast gamers. But inevitably, this is the future of all gaming. This is the future of all gaming, in my opinion. There will come a day. I know at the moment they're trying to solve the lag problem with... I've read up about it. They're trying to predict every single solitary move you could make and send multiple possible scenarios to your device. Now that, to me, says like... Well, wait a minute. If you're rendering it, doesn't that mean you have to... If you predict 100 scenarios, aren't you going to have to predict... it's like, what? So this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to get it to predict what you're going to do and have lots of different scenarios, and then hopefully they can always stay ahead. I'm not 100% sure how then that... the sort of computing power required for that sounds staggering. So it'd be like, okay, they might do one of... in an FPS game, how do you predict what they're going to move? There's to me, there seems to be, from frame to frame, an almost infinite number of options. But yeah, the idea is it predicts it and it sends several possibilities to you, and your device detects your input and matches it to whichever option it's been sent. But that's going to require a huge amount more network from you and a huge more processing from them. So I'm not totally in love with it. Somebody said that the controller is going to help with the lag issue. I don't really understand how it's going to do that on, say, an FPS game. It might be more on the sort of game where there's a limited number of moves, So, yeah. Oh, apparently you can use mouse and keyboard on Google Stadia. I might try Google Stadia out just so I get some experience with it and can speak a little bit more knowledgeably. So Obsidian are announcing a new IP today. What are my thoughts on it? I don't know what my thoughts will be until they made the announcement. Surely, is it going to be a new IP or is it going to be DLC for their current IP? Surely at this stage, they should be focusing on Outer Worlds DLC. Is there going to be DLC for Outer Worlds? Don't know. For all I know, it makes no sense. I've not finished the game yet. That's probably next week's news, isn't it? What are my thoughts on Death Stranding? Still haven't played it. Not available on PC at the moment. Not sure I'll get time to play it. I'm seeing a lot of interesting reviews. And was it Joker that described it as Kojima sniffing his own farts or something? I don't know. Or something, I don't know. I'm hearing mixed reviews. Some people saying it's atmospheric genius and art, and other people saying it's self-indulgent claptrap. I have a feeling I'd probably enjoy it. I don't know why. I do not know why. People are saying it's a walking simulator, and I'm like, quite like walking simulators. It's not supposed to be a walking simulator either, but I think it's weird. I don't mind weird either. I have a feeling that Death Stranding would just be something I would probably enjoy. But at the same time, I'm going to wait anyway. I don't really have time. So it's like Metal Gear meets QWOP. If I knew what either of those were like, that sentence might make sense. Well, I think we've done gaming news anyway. We've done gaming news to death. I don't actually have modding news so much as modding. Let's talk about something I spotted in modding, right? And it's okay. Let me show you my game rig now. See if that's working. There you go. So this is a funny thing here, right? I was going through my sub list and I saw a video by Hitman 47101, and he's one of the like unsung heroes of modding. He's one of these people who just makes really good stuff. And it's kind of like Zilandro. He's like one of those who's still making stuff for Fallout New Vegas. And it was really, really stupidly late at night. Did I not thumb up that? It was really stupidly late at night. And I saw this title and it was like Fallout New Vegas. And I read it as Fallout New Vegas Fire Hydrant Variants Update 1.1. And I was so tired, my brain didn't even register how ludicrous an idea that was. Fire hydrant variants. Aren't fire hydrants sort of famous for all looking the bloody same? So fire hydrant variants. And I'm thinking, okay, that's brilliant. I love his stuff. Let's see these. And I started watching it, and I swear, I'm looking at the crosshair and I'm thinking, is he shooting the fire hydrant? And I'm like, okay, give me a second. Is there a fire? I don't see a bloody fire hydrant. Okay, where's the fire hydrant? And it got to about here before I was like, what is going on? And reread the title. It's like, okay, that makes more sense. That definitely makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? Yes. Fire animation variants. So it was like, I don't know, like 4:30 in the morning. I've had a few days recently where I've had some insomnia. Not working the day, not working night shift or anything like that. Just actual, genuine, normal insomnia. And I was just so damned tired. And I read the word. And then I got it in my brain. And as daft an idea as it was, I was desperately trying to find that fire hydrant off in the distance. Oh dear. I thought you guys might like that. If you don't check out Hitman's mods, he does a lot of really, really good stuff. A lot of animation stuff. I might actually do a video in the near future, if I get time, and I'm hoping to get time, where I load up some of his mods and just do a side-by-side comparison of the different things. Because he's got loads of videos showing his new animations. But very often, it's just the new animations, and you think, okay, that looks good. Isn't that how it always was? And I suspect that if you actually looked at how it always was, you'd be going, whoa, that sucked, sort of thing. So I might actually do that and just take a lot of shots of his different... Got a new sub, D Marcus OG. So, yeah. He's got a lot of mods, alternate animations, idle animations, different animations for reload. He's got things like, I think it's like when you reload, your camera animates. Because I think the default Fallout New Vegas animation is you reload and you see the weapon reload, but your head stays stationary. Whereas he's made it so that your head actually moves a little bit as well, so it looks a bit more realistic. It makes the game look a bit more modern. So I might go through a whole heap of his mods and just take a bunch of footage and see about the comparisons. Because I did also notice on his page there were lots of questions. How does it compare to the basic one? So I think there's a lot of people do wonder that. Ever thought about doing a tutorial for SSE Dyne download? Well, I could, but it would be a very, very basic one. Gamer Poets did a really, really thorough one. if I did one, it would be a real basic one. It would essentially show you how to get the Dynalord settings I've got. And I'm not even 100% sure I'm doing it right, you know, because I found that the settings that a lot of people were suggesting for me, like 3D trees, were really causing issues for me. I found 3D trees looked really nice, except when I started to move, the popping was more pronounced than if I did billboards. And I had to play around with lots of different billboard settings until I found one that minimized the popping effects where I didn't see it as much. But I don't think I follow like the recommended way of doing it. So, but you know, I mean, I could do a basic. I could probably do a basic one on how to just install Dynalord, how to install the basic mods, and just, you know, generate it and run it, and then leave the more advanced tree setting things. Maybe I could do a second video and show you what I did for the trees. I mean, you usually end up using a billboard mod or something. So, but yeah, all right, I'll give that some thought. But again, I'm not an expert on Dynalord. I figured it out enough to be able to do it and get it working for Skyrim. So I generally prefer to know a bit more about things before I start tutorializing. So we have got 12 minutes left. 12 minutes. Do we have any other random stuff people need to hear apart from Fallout 76 rants and... how long will the season break be for Skyrim? Probably as long as the Outer Worlds is. Probably. That's probably. And the Outer Worlds will be 4 episodes a week, so however many episodes it takes me to finish. I don't know how long the game is. If I check, let's have a look. How long to beat? No spoilers, by the way, in the chat. The Outer Worlds. I'm trying to find the official thing. Right, currently it says completionist 34 hours. And it looks like the range goes from... The longest was about 70 hours with the average, I don't know, perhaps being in the 50s. Right, it says completion is 56 hours. Usually I'm pretty close to the completionist. I'm usually halfway between the middle and the longest. It really does depend on a let's play. So double that for Gopher. No. I usually come in behind whatever it says the longest is, and that's for let's plays. Let's plays obviously take about 50% longer than a normal play. So, you know, when I look at this, it's not an accurate science, so to speak, because of course the more dialogue a game has, the longer it takes in a let's play than if it's a game with less dialogue. A game with less dialogue doesn't involve me reading out the dialogue. You know, games like The Outer World, I have to read the dialogue options out, and that takes, you know, I mean, it might only take 30 seconds to read the dialogue options, but that's 30 seconds longer than the 2 seconds it took to read them. Because, you know, you can read 3 lines, 4 lines in a couple of seconds. You read it out loud, it takes a lot longer. Same is true of terminals, that sort of thing. So games that are heavy on dialogue or reading definitely push longer. But there's also, you know, I mean, you do sit around chatting about plans, that type of thing. I'm gonna say then, looking at this, probably I would expect it to be, I don't know actually, maybe a 60 episode playthrough. Could be a few months. Could be a few months before Skyrim Chapter 6 hits, which would be weird because I've already started the chapter. I got like 18 videos of it done. But did you know you can hide the helmets, Gopher? Yeah. Is that still a thing on the video comments? Are people still commenting about that? Are still people going like, hide the helmets? Would people really? The new thing is his pronunciation of Zoe. Oh, right. Yeah, no, right. I heard one of the NPCs called her Zoe. Why do they write it as Zoe, by the way? Never mind, doesn't matter. Maybe it's a spoiler. Maybe there's an in-game reason for it. I don't know why. I did notice one of the NPCs. I don't know when I notice it. So if I keep calling her Zoe for the next 3 or 4 episodes, don't get mad. That's how it's written. Zoe. Yeah, that would be how I would. That's how I would say Zoe. Zoe, Joe, Mo. Zoe for me would have a Y at the end, like Joey. It's Zoe, not Zo. Yeah, that's what I said. Zoe. I didn't say Zo. Did I correct myself in the episode? All right, okay. Yeah, no. The NPCs pronounce it the way it's normally pronounced. How is it normally pronounced? Because I would normally pronounce that word spelled like that, Zoe. For me, Zoe would have a Y at the end. It's kind of like Joe and Joey. So, I don't know. Every Zoe you've ever known spelled it with a Y on the end. Yeah. Anyway, doesn't really matter, does it? Is it important? Is it important? Please tell me that did not cause chaos in the... That probably caused chaos in the chat, didn't it? Gopher seeks sense in English. I didn't seek sense. I didn't seek anything. I'm not the one that was bothered by this. I just read Zoe because that's how it was spelt. I'm not seeking sense in it. If you tell me it's actually pronounced je, because reasons, I'm not going to seek sense in it. I mean, as someone else has pointed out, it's the English language. But I just it did. So the chat actually did break out in about it being Zoe. Why am I not surprised? Did I see a comment about Smart Blue Cat's computer dying? I don't think so, although I may have heard it from someone else. I think someone sent me a message. What is it about his computer that's dying? Because I tell you what I do have here. I've got an old 980 Ti. I don't know if it's working or not. I mean, it should be. I took it out of this machine. I know it had a fan that was making a tiny bit of extra noise. I'm just like, it'd be nice to just send it to him or something. You know, I mean, this brings up memories of the whole lich thing. Yeah, that still weirds me out. I'm getting used to saying lich, but I do have to concentrate. It's in the staff Discord if you want to have a look. Yeah, that might be where I heard it. One of you guys probably linked it. Hey, Captain Shack. Saw your video today about not buying Star Citizen. I've already bought it. I've never played it. I got the, what's it, Squadron 42. Never installed it. How about shaman? Shaman? Yeah, there are actually multiple ways of saying shaman. Am I a Star Wars fan? Define fan. I've stopped saying yes when anyone asks me whether I'm a fan of something because, yeah, I'm a Star Wars fan. I love Star Wars. But then they go, so what did you think in the 24th and a half minute of episode 4? And I'm like, which was episode 4? Is that actually like the 4th movie that came out? Or are you talking about the original Star Wars, which was not episode 4? It was bloody the first Star Wars, right? Oh no, that's episode 4. And in the 23rd and a half minute, blah, 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 what did you think? I don't. Then you're not a fan. Then I'm not a fan then. Sort of thing. Do I like Star Wars? Yeah, loved Star Wars. Think Star Wars. Someone's bought merchandise! Anonymous bought a mug. Which mug? Oh, this is killing me. We have got to get more information on this merch thing. Someone's bought a mug and got another bloody mug. I mean, thank you for buying lots of mugs, but tell us what mugs you're buying! If it's another mug, I might actually get angry. Oh, God, I mean, great, buy the mugs. I love you for buying the mugs. Tell us which mugs! It's going to say t-shirt, and then I'm going to realise that doesn't help. Oh, whoa, someone is, like, going nuts. Someone is buying the entire mug collect. Or is this going to be one of those stupid things where it actually just sends the same message that got typed in for every item they bought, and they bought 4 completely different items? Well, anyway, someone just had a bit of a mug fest, and now I'm absolutely burning up inside because I don't know which mugs they bought. Quorico's going to go and check. Because it's bugging her as well. What were we talking about? Star Wars. Yeah, The Fallen Order. Is it coming out? The new Star Wars game? Is the next question. Will you play it? I might. Will I play it as a Let's Play? I don't think so. Here's the thing. I keep asking permission to play a lot of games without recording them. I keep trying and I can't. I started playing The Witcher 2. Again, I want to go through a different side of it. But I find it really hard to get time to play something like that without recording it. I mean, I'm not playing Warframe anymore, but The Witcher 2 is not the sort of game I can just play for like 15 minutes and 20 minutes. I recently finished the Rage 2 DLC because that's the sort of game I could do in, like, you know, when I get a little bit of spare time. But yeah, I mean, the Fallen Order does look like the sort of game I would enjoy. If it's an action game, maybe it's a game I'll just play for me. Maybe do the odd stream. I think for me, on Let's Plays, what I should do is stick to RPGs where possible. I think RPGs are just better for my style of Let's Plays. And even though I think the occasional horror game, as long as it's a good one, I think is okay. But overall, I think just, you know, even games like Metro. I mean, I love Metro because it's atmospheric and it's story driven, but it has less of an appeal to my viewers than RPGs do. And I suspect that's nothing to do with the game and everything to do with the way I play them. So, you know, I don't know. We'll see. We will see. It was 4 different mugs. You're not going to tell us what the mugs were. Good grief. Hope you play VTM2 when it comes out. Yes. Vampire the Masquerade 2 will be one I play and record. That is a guaranteed Let's Play. The only the only thing I wish I could do before that came out is replay Vampire the Masquerade. I'd like to do another playthrough as Nosferatu. I'd like to play a Nosferatu playthrough. I've played the Malkavian. I think I've played 2 or 3 of the other classes. I'd like to pick Nosferatu. I think for Vampire the Masquerade 2, I'll probably start off with something like Bruja. One was the Foos Snowball, which delights you to no end. Yeah. So, yeah, I'd like to I really would like to do a Nosferatu playthrough to see how different it is. Because the Malkavian playthrough was very different to all my other playthroughs on Vampire. I suspect Nosferatu would be different as well. But I think the first playthrough of Vampire the Masquerade 2, I want to play one of the more standard vampire clans. Although I would be tempted by Malkavian. I just feel that Malkavian, and even I suspect Nosferatu, are good for second playthroughs when you sort of, you know, get a different... Yeah. However, ladies and gentlemen, we have hit the 1 hour, which means that is where we end. So, thank you for joining me for this 4th Rantcast, because it really was very ranty. I do apologise. Didn't mean to shout at everyone. Got a bit more carried away about that news than I thought I was going to get carried away. However, thank you for joining. The merchandise is going. Bought Gopher logo, Steve. And yes, I stole your sweet roll mugs. Now I just need actual... Oh, I lost the... The message disappeared. It doesn't stay up for long. Okay, and the sweet roll mugs. Now I need actual sweet rolls with my drink. Do you sell those too? Well, thank you for telling us what it was. Thank you. You're a wonderful person for putting it in the message. We love you lots. I don't think I can sell sweet rolls internationally. There's probably rules against it anyway. So, thank you for joining me. Good night and see you next week.